For latest updates and short audio clips, follow us on Instagram, Reading the Author.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast Reading the Author, a unique show where we read authors' mind and not their book. Meanwhile, I truly believe and pray that you and your families are completely safe and healthy as well. Guys, today we have Prabhu Subramanian sir with us, the author of Perfectly Imperfect. Thank you so much sir for coming on our show. We are highly grateful कि आप हमारे show पर आए.
Thanks, Gaurav. Thanks for doing this. So glad to be here.
Pleasure, sir. So, sir, before we get into the podcast and know much more about your books, vision, and everything, I would request you to please introduce yourself so that our listeners can know much more about you, and do share how you started writing, the whole journey.
Sure. In fact, introduction is the worst part of that I like. That I find it so hard to introduce myself. But let me try. I'm this regular Delhi boy.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm a South Indian, but I was born in Delhi. Grew up like a regular Delhi boy. 80% Punjabi, 20% Tamil.
Mm-hmm.
Quite mixed up in that sense. Very average as a student. Although I did manage to get by most days, most classes. Very average, very regular, very. There was nothing extraordinary that you'll notice. I'm those boys in the class that you'll not even notice most days. So that's how I grew up. Post that, when my career took off, it really took off well, and I was very grateful to God that I got great opportunities. I started to travel the world at about 21, 22. I was traveling to UK, Dubai for extended periods of time. Very happy with the way the career was going. It was that point where, one of my friends in Dubai, we were in Dubai, I was posted there for about, I was on an on-site project for about 2 years or so. So I was working in Dubai, there were days when the project was quite slow, there wasn't much to do. And that's when one of my friends, one of my colleagues, she told me that, Prabhu, I have noticed something about your emails, the way you write them versus the way the others write. It's actually quite different. I said, what do you mean? Is it funny? Is that are you saying that in a good way? Are you saying that is that a compliment or is that a comment? Do I need to change something? Have you heard something from the clients? She said, no, come on, take it easy. That's not the point. The point is that there is something very different about the way your presentations look, the way your emails look. I think why don't you write? So I said, what do I write about? First of all, I wasn't even confident that I can write or so I laughed it off. I thought she was high on something and probably pulling my leg and making me so. But then a couple of others also came to me and said in that process. In fact, the clients came and said to me. One of the clients there, his name was, if I recall, Aftab or something. He was actually from Pakistan. Who was also was also working on the project for the client. He was a client employee.
Okay.
So he kind of told me, Prabhu sir, आपका यार बड़ा अच्छा email लिखते हो आप. So and आपके subject lines are very good, this that. So then I kind of decided to write. That was the day I was back in 2011. I picked up my laptop. It was a day when I locked myself. I decided not to go out that day. And I started to kind of write. And I wrote some 14 pages in very quick time. And then I requested her if, she's willing to read and give me feedback. And then she just stood up, she hugged me, she said, fantastic, I'm so proud of you, this is very good. So I said, don't say it just because you have to say it.
Yeah.
Very critical. I'm okay, it's my first draft, it's okay for me to go wrong. She said, no, this is really good. I had so much fun. Why did you stop writing? I really want to know what happens next now. So that's how Perfectly Imperfect was born. That's how I started to write. Confidence that maybe, yes, I can write in a manner that is engaging, that will be worth people's time. So gradually the confidence built up. As I kept writing, I kept socializing with friends, families, and colleagues who I did not know too well. But then I actually used to go out to look out for colleagues I did not know too well who could give me very candid feedback. That's how I kind of picked it up and realized that I can do it. But then when I continued doing it, after a point, I couldn't end the book. It was turning into a saga of sorts. Anyways, we'll cover that as we progress. So that's really how my writing journey began.
Okay. So, sir, as of now, it has been 6 years that book has been released, and till now, it is performing really well. I guess around 50 plus positive reviews are there. Many people must have read that already. But after listening
Yes.
to this podcast, many new readers will be willing to explore the book, will be willing to buy them. So, let's say if we ask from a new reader's perspective, so what they can expect from this book, like Perfectly Imperfect. The title is quite catchy, and can you share some insights of the book?
Sure. Let me try. So this book really will leave you with a very sweet taste. Number one, so you will be able to. It will stay with you for a while, definitely, and it'll stay with you for a while in a very happy way. It will keep the smile on your face after you've read the book. But beyond that, what you will really learn, I mean, I wouldn't say learn. It's not really a self-help book. It is fiction. It is teen fiction. But still, there are certain sequences, certain episodes within the story that do have some sort of messaging here and there. But overall, what you will really enjoy is a story of a 17-year-old disillusioned boy, which is all of us, which is any one of us. I wouldn't say all of us, but 98, 99%. There are 1% kids who are absolutely certain about what they want in life. They go about. They are great in sports. They're great in studies. They're great in everything they pick up. So that's that 1% who are genuinely gifted and focused. But for the remaining 99%, we are always trying to figure out life as we go along. Some people crack it at 22. Some people can't crack it even at 50. So especially for a young kid who's in school in a very intimidating environment where you're bullied by teachers, you're bullied by friends, you're bullied by yourself also sometimes.
True.
You yourself don't think too highly of yourself. So all of that, and this is this Rohit Krishnan who's dealing with so many ups and downs on a day-to-day basis. He's low on self-esteem, and that's the story. And we don't make it too dramatic. It is very day-to-day. How the guy picks up, how the guy falls, and how the guy goes about life. He's only got lows. He's got hardly any highs. So, and we're not even celebrating. The book doesn't really celebrate the protagonists for anything. It gives you the protagonist, the character, the way he is. It doesn't say that you always have this tendency that the protagonist should always be portrayed as a winner, or as you should always bring all the positive shades of the protagonist. I don't make any such attempt. I present Rohit the way he is with all his flaws. I don't seek any forgiveness for him. So that's how the book is structured. It is funny in so many places. It is very intense in number of places, and it's really a one-sitting read for most people. You start reading, I think, whatever I've heard of all the books I've sold, the biggest feedback I have received from all readers is that this has been a one-sitting read for all of them. All of them have been able to read it in one go, or maximum two. So you will keep coming back to it. You keep it down. You'll go somewhere. You will want to come back immediately and say, okay, let me read another 15 pages quickly and find out what happens next. But with that 15, you'll finish the book. So that's the reading experience. But there's a lot of messaging that happens throughout. There is a lot of examples for parents, examples of teachers, examples for kids and friends and so on. A number of things you'll be able to relate to your own life. I'm sure at least if there are 10, 20 episodes, at least 3-4 of them for 100, depends upon how mischievous you've been in life, or how successful you've been in life, how your journey of life has been. At least 4 scenarios you will definitely be able to. 3 to 4 scenarios will definitely resonate with you.
Okay. So all in all, we can say that it's a complete relatable package. Like everyone will be able to relate to these things in their life. As you haven't represented anything fascinating, which is like heroic thing in the book.
There's fascinating. There's a lot of fascination, but I'm not turn Rohit into a hero. Is what I'm saying. It is fascinating. Number of things, his journey, the episodes, the kind of problems he gets into, how he comes out of it or doesn't come out of it. All of that is extraordinarily fascinating. It will keep you on the edge also sometimes. But just that it does not. All I'm saying is I'm not celebrating Rohit as a big hero.
That's what I was saying, that in a heroic way it's not fascinating, that you will see okay, everything is sorted in his life and everything is so simple for him. That thing is not in the book, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, sir, as it has been 6 years now that you have released your first book, and till now you haven't, released anything. And so, from asking the perspective from the people who have already read your book, like what they can expect, something, or as of now, or not, like what's in the
Oh,
pipeline?
yes. I've finished writing my second book,
Okay.
and
That's good news.
right now it is getting copy edited. I'm talking to some publishers. It's in a good place right now.
Okay.
We're negotiating with a couple of really revered publishers in India. So let's see how it goes. So that is actually a very different story to Perfectly Imperfect. That's got science and that's got it's also fiction, and fiction is the world I like to, so far at least. I like to write fiction. Maybe perhaps if there's a story I stumble upon which is non-fiction, which is true, I wouldn't mind to pick that up also. But for the moment, I like to stick to fiction. There's nothing that gives you the kind of liberty, the kind of freedom like fiction does. So this second book that is coming out, that is it's a mix of it's a startup story in many ways. It has this engineering, there's a legal, there's a big legal argument that goes on. So this you'll really enjoy the next one. Not that the first one was very different. The first one was very light-hearted in its treatment. The second one is more intense. But that's also a one-sit read. So that's the feedback I got for everybody, including the publishing houses who've read the book. I've had some. It's been professionally edited this time. As last time it was all friends and family. My wife was my editor. So for Perfectly Imperfect, this one it has been done more professionally. But the writing has all been me. I actually quit my job for about 6 months just to write this book.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
so
yes.
Definitely something big is coming, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, sir, as of now, like after talking to around 100 plus authors, I can see, or that most of the authors are working to create a certain impact on their readers' mind. Like, certainly they want to be known or remembered as a certain genre, certain type of author. They want to, you can say that they want to, give a sense of feel to their readers. Okay, let's take your example. Like if a couple of years from now, if you would release a book, then your permanent reader, that that dedicated reader, can feel okay, it's a book by Prabhu sir, then this book must be of this type, or I will get these kinds of feelings or these things in the book. So is there any sort of personal branding have you ever thought about, like ever any strategy?
Yeah, honestly, I haven't, and that's a big I think that's a big failing on my part. I have never been able to think of how I would like to be remembered as an author. What should people expect of me? Is there a certain style that I should be associated with? I haven't, even if I have thought, I've never been able to conclude on what it should be. It has crossed my mind a couple of times. Me and my wife have discussed. Some of my colleagues in office I've spoken to about this, but I never pursued it. I've never tried to consciously pursue to build a certain kind of image of myself in the mind of the reader. I think what I would like is write all kinds of genres, and let the readers really tell me the ones that I excel in. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult to do justice to the story that you're writing if you allow such thoughts to interfere in the creative process. Because in the creative process, you have to be in the story, you have to be in the mind of the characters when you're writing in that situation, so marinating in that zone, in that environment. So that's all you can think of. You really can't think that if I'm making this line, how am I going to be perceived as a writer? So that's very hard. Maybe some people can do it. Some people have that skill to be able to subconsciously somehow blend that into their writing. I haven't been able to reach that stage at all. So far, I'm waiting for the readers over time. I hope I write many more books, and they are there, and hundreds and millions of people read it, and ultimately the aggregated opinion of all my readers together will be the person I am, will be the writer I am.
Okay. So now, sir, in 2016, when you have released the book, the whole scenario of this book industry was different, right? that there were quite a less number of authors, and after that, the promotion, book reviewers, all these things were not there at that time. Like this much rigorously, they were not that time. So after the first lockdown, what I feel that numbers of author gets very increased very rapidly, and in fact the publication has become much easier, like literary agents, self publication, Kindle direct publication, lots of things are there. So from a author's perspective, if you could say, like last time in 2016 and now in 2022, what sort of competition do you feel in this industry? Like a sort of you can say a neck to neck competition, like it's really hard nowadays to make your book stand out, or for you it's like, okay, it's a creative thing, and in creativity there's no competition, every book will find their own reader, every author will find their own targeted audience. What's your take on this?
So I have a very, very nuanced take, and I think it is not really competing with the new authors that's a problem. Competing with new authors is fine. All of us, we try and have our own creative marketing strategies to be able to make our books stand out. What I don't like is, and which I find highly unfair, is this competing with celebrity authors. For example, I was watching this, with all due respect to Soha Ali Khan. I was just watching her interview the other day about a book she's written, and you know how it started. She says, "I wrote this one chapter randomly, and then this someone picked it up and said, 'Hey, you should write the book.' And I worked with an agency and I wrote the book, and the book was published." It's so easy for them, So and it just goes out and it gets. They have Soha Ali Khan, the entire PR machinery, all of that, and I've got nothing against. So I'm absolutely, it's not her fault in any way. So I congratulate her for that. But what I'm saying is that's the problem, and publishers, they like to hedge their bets, they like to keep it safe. So it becomes very hard for you to publish yourself, and with a renowned publication house. Until you are published by a renowned publication house, your books will never make it to the stands, the physical stores, like at the airports, Crosswords, and all the other bookstores around the world. That cannot happen if you are a self-publisher, because you will not have that offline distribution network. You can make it stand out online, you can do all kinds of
but in offline it will be tough.
But and books are still very word of mouth. It's still in that word of mouth zone. That I picked up a book when I was on the flight and I liked it, and I go and tell Gaurav, and Gaurav tells somebody else. So books still spread through word of mouth. And that's where I think it is very, very unfair for new authors, and that's a code that must somehow be cracked. I know they and you can't do that even if you're an author. It's very, very hard. I found that in my first book. So this time, which is why I said I want to really publish with a renowned publication house, so that it is scrutinized by by tested or by experienced literature experts. That's one. Second, it finds the right stance and it finds its right place. So in terms of how the scene has changed, the new authors are doing what they have to do. So I am not worried too much about competition there. As long as the challenge really is to get it, to be able to get the right eyeballs, that's the challenge. And when you're denied that becomes very difficult. When you're denied the eyeballs, then how do you even compete? So that's the problem that must be solved, and I'm hoping I could contribute to it someday, to solve the distribution network and just crack this code. It's very hard. Otherwise, the publishers will keep playing safe, and people who are from privileged backgrounds will always have it easy. And
they will already have an edge.
Okay, but it can't be this easy. That that I was just walking, I was taking a stroll, I thought about something, and they said, okay, I know somebody, we'll have people from Penguin or HarperCollins or whoever, they'll sit with you and they will write the book, they will do everything else for you. Because for us, after we write the book, we create a proposal. We create 3 chapters, and then we give them a marketing plan, we give them a plot plan, we give them ABC. There is almost a 20-30 page document proposal that we prepare, and then we start to pursue one by one. You go to literary agents, you go to publishing house, and I'm okay with the process as long as it is same for everyone.
That's also true.
Yeah. So that's my take. So it is not level playing at all. That's the problem.
No. So as of now, do you have any particular writing schedules, or like every day you devote some particular hours to your writing, or it's like random? Sometimes you get some thought, you just jot it down on your phone on diary, and after that you write. Like how does it goes with you?
So by the grace of God, I'm a prolific writer. I write very fast. I can finish books in for back to front in about 90 days, 120 days. And then I start to improve it. The improvement takes for another 6, 9, 8 months. But I can finish the entire story front to back in about 3, 4 months when I sit down. And from there on, I start to make minor improvements chapter by chapter. There will be a lot of changes. Obviously, the final thing that comes out is very different to what I initially wrote. But the heart and soul remains the same. So because I know I have come to learn that about myself, I don't lock myself into any kind of discipline for writing. So these are thoughts that cross. So for example, the last book that I've just written and now is in the race for on some commissioning editor's desk. That book, it was just one fine day I sat down and I wrote a big race sequence. And that's it. And then I did not know what's going to happen after this or before this. I just wrote that race sequence, and then a month later I had written a lot of the build up and subsequent plots, the parts of the book. And then I realized, well, this is not working. I can't finish this book along with my job. So then I called my company. I said, I'm quitting and I'll see how things go. But I need to focus on this book. So I took that 6-month break and I started to write. So there's no routine that I follow. At the moment something sparks, I just sit down and it is so unplanned, I just allow it to grow and grow and grow in my head. So I'm working on a presentation or a PowerPoint, and it's a regular day at work, but this whole thing has grown so much in my head, I can no longer stop it. So I stop everything and I start to write. That's how I have done so far.
Okay. And there's one thing as well, sir, that creativity is something which follows you. You just can't chase it. I truly believe in this quote.
Correct. You cannot say I will be creative, so I'll do it this way. Correct. That cannot happen. For not just for creativity, for anything, I believe. Maybe not for everything, but some things are very administrative. You can still say I'll follow a discipline and make it happen. But creativity is so arbitrary, so abstract that it's so hard to put a science to it. And which is why these master classes, etc., that happen, I am not a big fan of them, because not that they're wrongly intended, they're rightly intended to give the right message. But the whole thing is so abstract. How do you put a structure to this?
Okay. So, sir, as of now, we have talked about your book, about your vision, about your upcoming books and everything. So now coming to your personal life, like, there must be a lot of moments which you tag as the happiest moment in life. So if you can share any one of them with us, then that would be really great.
The happiest moment, are you married, Gaurav?
No, sir.
So it'll be hard for you to imagine. The happiest moment for anyone is when you hold your first child in your hands. That is the happiest moment. Nothing in the world can ever come close to that. So by the grace of God, I've been fortunate to have experienced it. So when I held Kabir, when I saw him, when a baby is born, he's kept under a little light bulb. I don't know if you're aware. So he comes out of the womb and he's kept on a doctor's table, and there's a light bulb right on his head, on the baby's head, when he's just trying to warm up and he's looking around. So that feeling, that is one thing that always is for forever etched in my mind. That's the first image of Kabir. That's the first time when I saw my son. So that is the happiest moment, and it'll all, I think, maybe when I have my second child, if at all, whenever, maybe that could. I don't think even that will beat this moment. This is the first experience ever. So.
In fact, sir, the name Kabir is really impressive, and I guess I was in class 8th or 9th when that film was released, Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, and I heard that name first time, Kabir, and I just said to my whole family, okay, from now onwards my name will be changed from Gaurav to Kabir. And it's really I don't know what it's there, but it's that name is really close to my heart. I always want people to call me Kabir, but unfortunately the name is Gaurav. So yeah.
No. Gaurav is a great name. Yeah, Gaurav is flight. Yeah, Gaurav is flight. So good. Gaurav is a great name. In fact, on Kabir also, it wasn't my choice. It was my wife who had, they had this pact in school with friends. And they have that, these girls, boys, they all have that. So she had a pact with her friends that if I have a son, I will name him Kabir. So, and I had said that if it's a daughter, I'll name her Drishti. So in India, you obviously don't know because sonography and gender determination.
Really.
Yeah. So when it's a boy, so he's Kabir. Then we also added Neil to his name because I wanted. Anyway, that's a different story.
Okay, so sir, as of now, like if you go to the time like when your book was about to release at that time, like 6 years ago, if you can still recall those things, like one day earlier to that, that eve of that day, what was going on in your mind? Like were you feeling excited, relaxed, or you have marked up some milestones? Okay, these many people know me, my book has to be sold out this much. Like what was going on in your mind at that time?
Honestly, first book, I'll tell you very honestly, I did not do enough justice to it when it comes to marketing it. There was nervousness because I had sold it widely in my company. So with colleagues, if they don't like the book, I could turn into a joker. So that kind of nervousness was there. It was not really about the sales numbers initially, at least. Sales numbers for me are important because they give you the reach. They give you the people. The more people who read your book, the more excited, the more motivated you are to write more. So from that point, I wanted this to reach out to a lot of people. I wasn't very nervous. I was just fingers crossed and prayed to God that God hope everything goes all right. And there's no administrative problem. There are enough copies in the print. They don't go out of stock. When people want it should be available. So those were things that I was very meticulously managing. I had become very tactical by then. Before that, I was very, very creative, very much in the zone and strategic and thinking about the vision of what I want the book, where it needs to go. But on the eve of when it was about to be launched, I had become very meticulous, methodical, looking at every single nuts and bolts, talking to the publisher a number of times. Do we have enough copies in the print? Is it live on Amazon? Is it live on Flipkart? Those were that consumed me so much that I didn't really feel nervous. I was very into the whole process. I was fully hands-on with the process. Like I said, right, for new authors who don't come from a celebrated background or who don't have connections in the publishing space, no one will do it for you. You will have to do all the housekeeping plus the writing by yourself. So that's the challenge. That's the other challenge for if you are not. This whole industry requires you to be very, very connected. That's the problem with the whole the publishing space, the traditional publishing space. Obviously now because of Kindle there is democracy. Because of self-publishing there's democracy and so on. But if you want to be traditionally published and you want yourself to be on the stands, it is a drill. It's a big drill that kind of takes away the creative side of you. It interferes with the creative side of you. But maybe it's a good thing. The more you struggle, I think sometimes as an author, the more you struggle, the more stories you have. So in that sense, it's not a bad thing. Yeah, it's not a bad thing, but it is certainly avoidable. And if you do have podcasts tomorrow, any day with a top publishing house, I think you must kind of articulate that. I understand their point of view. It's a business end of the day. If it carries the name of Shashi Tharoor or a name of Soha Ali Khan or even a Rishabh Pant these days or whoever who's got some recall value, they are guaranteed more sales. So that's the problem. I don't know if I've answered your question. So I wasn't very nervous when on the day of release. I was still into the detail. It just released and it just continued. So I was still running with it. Market, I just promoting and so on, and then got back to office. Plus my career, like I said, I have been fortunate to have a very fast moving career. I'm a senior vice president today. So I grew very quickly in life by the grace of God. So the work pressure has always been there. So it was never that I could only focus on this. That the entire, which is why I said I had to quit. That was the only way I could do justice. If I have to write again, if another idea comes to me, I will again ask for a break.
Okay. So as of now, sir, my last question to this podcast would be like, there must be a lot of people who will start writing their book after listening to this podcast, or there will be people who will be holding their first draft in their hand, in their laptop. So what would be advice for the upcoming authors from your side?
Yes. So there are two kinds of authors. If you've not started to write, then you don't write alone. Write with somebody who you can trust. What I mean by that is somebody who's willing to read your writings every day. That's what helped me, because when I'm in my second book, Pallavi, my wife, she would read everything I used to write. So when I took a break, I used to wake up at 1 in the night, and I would write till about 7-8 in the morning, and then I will hand over the laptop to Pallavi. She will read what I've written and give me feedback while I sleep. So, this creates a sense of teamwork. Second, also creates a sense of accountability in the writer's mind itself. So, if you're a writer, you know that you've begun to write, and there is a person who's devoting time to you, and so it makes you accountable to write, so that you don't let the other person down. So that sense of accountability gives you a drive to continue to write and improve your writing. Because when that person is reading, you're looking at that person, you want to see the person is smiling, crying, engaging, so on, So that gives you the motivation to write and write really well. So write together is my view. Find someone in your life, your father, your mother, your girlfriend, your brother, whoever, who you can take for granted almost, and who will sit and read for you. So that my first piece of advice. That this has helped me a lot, always. I remember the first book also told you I had a colleague back in my first company. She would read what I wrote. Now I have my wife. She reads what I write. So that partnership is extremely important. And so find that partner and
Okay, so that's all for today, guys. I hope you must have enjoyed this lovely episode with Prabhu sir, and if you do, then do follow our podcast, Reading the Author, available on all the leading podcast platforms. And don't forget to buy and read the book. आप just Amazon पे जाएं, वहाँ पे सर्च करें Perfectly Imperfect, वहाँ पे सर की बुक आ जाएगी. ज़रूर खरीदें, पढ़ें और अपने जानने वालों के साथ, जानने वालों के साथ ज़रूर शेयर करें. Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us with your thoughts. It was my honor to host you today.
Thank you, Gaurav. This was great. One of the best podcasts I've been.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.